This is Saturday Morning Brew with Billy Jaffe and Andrew Razor Raycroft on WEEI.
And welcome. It is time for Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. I'm here in the studio. Razor's on the road. Road Razor. It's a new term. Not that creative, but then again, I'm not that creative. It's a fun Saturday because the Boston Bruins in the last week have won 3 in a row, overall 5 in a row, 6 of 7. And what a difference a couple of days makes, especially in this NHL and especially in the Eastern Conference where everybody is basically, well, not basically, everybody's 500 or better. The Bruins have gone from about 12 days ago from, are you kidding me? Not already. This is what it's going to be, to, holy smokes, not bad. And the guys are working their asses off, and they're making it happen. And right now, the Boston Bruins are bringing it, and they're playing a team game, a much more defensively structured game, not just in their own zone, but the neutral zone as well. They're getting balanced depth scoring. In fact, in the last week, folks, it's been a lot more than what you would think the top line. And they're making it happen. So far, right now, you got to say, you're in 16 games in the season. You're almost at the quarter point. You're like, all right, they're doing their thing. They're grinding their way through it. Do we have Razor? Is Razor ready to go?
I'm here.
That a boy. Razor in the morning from the road. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I'm perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Was it?
Grab some dinner, and I was early, so I mean it's a little early right now, but I'm ready to go. Without the family, the whole thing is not having a family around to like get you out of bed, right?
Yes.
Like that's my brain works like that.
There's many ways I could go with that, but I'm not going. All right, listen, 617-779-7937, the number if you want to join in. Razor, I got to know when you're on the road. Like I had a routine. I still do when I get on the road. You get on the road a lot more than I do now, but for years I was traveling with the teams and going and everything. Do you have a routine, bud? Do you have one that you like to stick to?
No, not really. Just kind of depends where you are, what you're doing, what city, what kind of setup. But today's pregame skate day, so head there and 9:15 bus, 9:20 bus. So Are you not a walk to the rink guy ever? I mean, Toronto's different. No. I get it. You're not that far from the rink, but it's different. And you're a well-known public figure up there, my friend. Oh yeah, very well known. I got to hide up here. No, I could maybe lunch after with somebody, walk home. Yeah. And get lunch, but I'd rather take the bus and get in, because the problem is for me, I don't really know where to go in the rinks as a media person. So like I just like being on the bus and following the guys, like that normal player routine, not trying to figure out where to go on my own.
Yeah, I don't know. I get a kick out of I just like when the rink is in the downtown area, and we're seeing less and less of that as more room is available in the suburbs, right, for a lot of arenas, not just hockey, just arenas in general. So you don't always get that vibe of walking to a rink in the morning or, even before a game. And, nobody knows who I am, so I love it. And if I can, and I know where I'm going, I absolutely love it. There's something about that energy of getting to an in-city rink, bud, and going there. And I understand, all kidding aside, you want to get into the rink. You don't want to be the guy who goes to the fourth door and keeps asking somebody how to get in. I get it. That's no fun either. But you know what is fun? The way the Boston Bruins have been playing this week. 3-0, bud. 5-0 now in their last 5. In the last 3 games, they've outscored the opponent 9-6. Power play 1 for 8. Penalty kill 6 for 6. And they've been outshot, by about 10 or maybe even a little more than that. But it's not all about, the eye test says, those are close numbers. And those are because the Bruins have played more one-goal games, right, than anybody in the NHL, or as many. It's about the eye test. The eye test tells me a different, a whole different structure vibe, a whole different kind of mindset of we're going to do the little things that it takes. There's still some things in their own zone. And they're backhanding the puck up into areas at times, buddy, that I don't love. But, okay, it'll get better. But overall, it's a whole different vibe, and the eye test says to me they're getting it. Whatever that it is, you agree with that? Meaning whether it's D-zone, whether it's the offensive, the breakouts, the offense seems to be flowing a bit more. I just says they're starting to get it more at this time.
Yeah, that's what I see as well. They're connected again for the most part. It's far from perfect,
Yeah.
of course. There's tons of work to do, but during that losing streak, you were wondering if it was ever going to get connected just a little bit. Now I think it's connected a fair bit. They're creating offense off of their turnovers at times. Their possession numbers, like you say, it doesn't feel like they're getting outshot every night. Their possession feels pretty even with the teams that they've been playing the last while. 10 one-goal games now, which is leading the league, and I think the guys recognize that. Like, I think the guys would love to have a little bit of breathing room in a few of these games. They know they're grinding pretty good, and they know they don't really want to do that the entire season. But for the last 5 games, it's worked, and hopefully you clean up the little details, more, and you can build off this resiliency you've grown in the first month with all of these one-goal games.
They continue to kill penalties really well. And to me, as I said, in the last 3, 1 for 8 on the power play, 6 for 6 PK. You go back into the 5-game winning streak, 4 for 16 power play. Okay, 20%, not bad. I'm not good at math. I can figure that out. Or is that 25%, actually? I am bad at math. And then 15 of 16 on the PK. That's not 100%, but it's close. I guess the positive is that they're not relying on the power play. I mean, the power play has been more than adequate. We've talked kind of at length about entries, how significantly I feel significantly they've been different. I had my buddy check from NHL Network last week, Razor, and I think it was only like 4 or 5% better on the entries. But you know what? That's a lot. I guess it is. When you think about it, it's at least one clean entry every time you bring the puck up the ice. If you have 4 power plays per game, or so, or maybe 3. So overall, it seems to be so much better. But I guess the point is, I'm thrilled that they're not relying on the power play. And that means usually they're not relying on Pasta, because the last couple of games in the last 3, Pasta hasn't been, and Geeks Morgan has scored 1, but they haven't put up the numbers, and that's a great. I'm taking the positive out of that. That's a good sign to me. Yeah,
no question, especially when we're thinking, okay, if they don't score, if David and Morgan don't score, then how are they going to win? And they've done that numerous times in the past 10 days. So that's positive. I think their power play looks the part. It might, and 25% compared to the 10% last year is a huge upgrade, but that's normal in the league, that 25% over a 5-game segment. When you've won 5 in a row, it's probably actually, like you said, below average, over, when you're talking about a winning streak. But because the PK is cranking what it is over a 5-game span, and you're +3 in the special teams, that's a huge win. That's a huge win. So they're doing enough, and the special teams is carrying them along together, not just one unit or the other.
And just to quantify it, me and numbers and me don't usually go well together, so I actually wrote this down. I'm sure I'll screw it up because I don't have good handwriting either. I probably won't be able to read it well. But in the last 3 games, again, just to make the point more, Pastrnak has 1 assist and only 8 shots on goal. He has 17 attempts. Okay, not bad. I mean, we're used to David sometimes having 15 attempts in 1 game, but 17 attempts in 3 games with 8 on net. Morgan Geekie has a goal and an assist in the last 3. He's got 9 shots on goal. Playing just under 19 minutes. And Marat Khusnutdinov as his center, or their center of the top line. The last 3 games, he has the goal. He had the game-winning goal in OT against the Isles, and then the shootout. And then, but he only has 1 shot on goal in that time in those last 3 games, and he's playing a little over 16 minutes, which, by the way, for him, he's getting this great opportunity, and I like it. I like it. I mean, I think you can tell, Razor, that, it's an imperfect situation, obviously, with Elias Lindholm out for an extended period of time. But at least in the short term here, Marat's doing his part to do his best. Is it going to last? Who the hell knows? I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that. But those numbers over 3, that's your quote-unquote top line, they aren't huge. That means the other guys have really taken up the slack.
They have. The second line's been very, very good.
Very good.
Since Middlestat sat, since Zaka went to the middle, they've been excellent and good defensively too, but especially a threat offensive, threat off the rush. Arvidsson's been on his horse. They've been able to drive the net and create and cause havoc and cause penalties. And then the between the third and fourth line, basically they've had an automatic 6 guys, sometimes 7 for sure, or sorry, 5 or 4 or 5 automatically going every night. Every single night since the start of the season, they've had 4 or 5 guys playing really well out of that bottom 6. Some nights it's been all 6. But like the Islanders, where they were able to figure that out. A couple guys weren't going down there. They said as much in the game against the Ottawa Senators. They wanted to have a bounce back, but there was enough to get going to be able to piece something together. And Marco Sturm's been able to figure that out. Who is going? He's been able to make lines. He's been able to make adjustments in game that have allowed the team to find a way in these 5 games. And then just back to Khusnutdinov quickly. It's opportunity.
Yeah.
We talk so much. This is how you get a foot in the league, is having this kind of a month where you're a young guy, you get traded last season, you sign a deal in the summer to kind of hang on, and now you're playing first line minutes, and now you're playing with David Pastrnak and Morgan Geekie. Okay, I have to make them. This is how I get into the NHL. This is how I turn a couple-year career into a 7, 8, 9-year career by having a great year right now and showing I can play with these guys.
And I don't think this is obvious at all. You can tell me even more, but I've, kind of understand the guys are rooting. At least it appears they're rooting for him, and there's something to be said for that. And it's not that guys aren't always, looking out for each other, but you can tell that they like him. You can tell that they want him to succeed. And, Pastrnak, and I think we said this on the show last week. I know we said on the podcast throughout the week about how Pastrnak, emphasized, I'll adjust to you, Murat. Don't worry about adjusting to me. Now, I'm sure David and he are talking all the time, which is great, but it shows that they believe in him, B, they rooting for him, and that means a huge thing for a young kid to just get an opportunity like this to get going. Because, sometimes, I don't want to say guys aren't rooting for other guys. They are, but it's not the same. This seems to be a real overt kind of, we want him to succeed here. And they need him to. And again, just to go over his numbers, as the top line center, the last 3, a goal. And he had the game-winning in shootout against the – and then he had the 1 shot on goal this whole time, though, in the 3 games. 7 for 13 on his faceoff, so not bad. 2 blocks, 2 hits, 2 takeaways, 2 giveaways as well, and 16 for 16. It's not a bad line. And they're going to want to see some more. This is going to be a tough test tonight for Murat and the top guys, Razor, in Toronto. I mean, the matchup game is going to be – it favors, obviously, T.O. It's going to be tough.
It is. It's a great point about the rooting. I think when that seems obvious that they're rooting for a player, it means they think they can do it.
Right.
NHL, you can't hide in the NHL. Everybody knows what your ceiling is and who's good and who isn't. And I think that when you see guys rooting for somebody, it's because they believe in them. It's not because they're like kind of building them up. If there's a guy there that they don't think should be there, you might not see the same enthusiasm like you are with Murat.
Yep, correct. Absolutely. 617-779-7937 is the number. We already got a couple of calls. We got Maria and we got Cy. See another one coming. Let's take them. We'll take a couple in the next segment, guys. Razor's in Toronto. I know we need to get him an iced coffee if he doesn't have it yet, just to keep him or get him going. I know that. I hope he does. I know coming up also we're going to have David Razor with What's Trending Now, and after the break we're going to talk a lot more about the second, third, and fourth lines. We're going to talk goaltending because they've found, at least it feels like, Razor, a bit of a balance now. Maybe it's just the schedule. Who the hell knows? But at least it feels like the rhythm and routine is there. Both guys doing well, and so we'll keep talking about these Boston Bruins. 3-0 in the last week, 5-0 overall. They've won 6 of 7, and they find themselves right now 16 games into the season in the thick of things in the National Hockey League's Eastern Conference. All right, coming up next, our guy David Razor is back, and he's going to tell you what's trending now.
We continue with Saturday Morning Brew, hosted by Billy Jaffe and Andrew Razor Raycroft on WEEI.
All right, Razor on the road. I'm here in studio It's always a little different when Razor's not here. I mean, we sit and do the podcast regularly apart from each other, but this feels different, Razor. It feels like we are hundreds of miles apart. I know you're back in your home province of Ontario, so you're enjoying that. Does it feel different when you land there, buddy, for you? Does it? I know the chocolate's different, and I think the beer's a little different.
The candy bars are definitely different. Yeah. I mean, I've done the drop off in the airplane. There's not, a million times. So it feels very familiar, certainly.
Yes, it does. You know what else is familiar? We got a couple of people on the line. We're going to take them in just a moment. In particular, Maria. She's very familiar to the show. But before we get to that, let's remind you that tonight the Bruins play the Toronto Maple Leafs in the aforementioned province of Ontario. Leafs have been all right. They've been good. They're a little over 500 this year. Been inconsistent. They've played 10 of their 14 games at home, Razor, already. They haven't had to travel nearly as much. They're basically even as far as goals for, goals against, 52 for, 50 against. Their power play, not very, robust. PK is not so good either. They're more of a 5-on-5 team, but they feel like they're starting to get, I guess, the last couple of games starting to get going. They're 8-5-1 overall. Pre-game tonight is at 6 on Nesson. Face-off is, are we talking 7:15 tonight? Hockey night in Canada? Probably.
I saw 7:19.
7:19. Let's just take it later.
Yeah.
Please don't. All right, so 7:19. But face-off will be, but we're on Nesson starting at 6, so join us there. This team, them being the Toronto Maple Leafs, led point-wise by Michael Nylander with 20. John Tavares, congrats to JT. Scored his 500th goal about a week ago, and then he got 501 the other game. Awesome guy. Kind of monotone, but I still love the guy. I've known him since he's been a rookie in the NHL. He's got 18 points. He's still bringing it for them. Austin Matthews, just 8 goals and 4 assists. Matt Nyes as well. Matthew Nyes with 18 points. A very potent lineup and they're big up front. They got their handful of guys that are pretty big, Razor. This is going to be a fun challenge, a tough challenge tonight for the Boston Bruins and T.O.
It will. They're starting to feel it a little bit. There's some criticism up here about the team and where they are.
When isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. They've won 3 in a row. You mentioned the home ice. It's a staggering number how offset it's been, but that comes down to college football and NFL in the United States.
Yes.
Toronto Maple Leafs can play all their games in October, and it's going to be completely sold out. So there's a lot when it comes into scheduling how that works for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're not a fast team. They're built differently this year than what we've seen with the Mitch Marner in the lineup and how front loaded their top 2 lines were, how fast they were, how reliant they were upon skill. They're heavier now. Their back end is where you can get to them, or the Bruins are going to have to get pucks in behind them. Because again, they're not the most fleet of foot back there. So it's a perfect test for the Bruins at this time. Divisional game. These points are really going to mean something at the end of the season if you want to keep piling them and banking them at this point.
It is a great test. Let me just give you a few other nuggets here before we get some calls. This is a big team. You're talking guys 6'2", 6'3", over that. Up front in Dakota Joshua, Steven Lorentz, Matt Nyes, McMahon, Nick Watt. He's come in. And not that the Bruins don't have some size too, but I'm talking about the depth of their size seems pretty good. You mentioned they're not the fastest skating team, but I think Craig Berube's trying to get them to lean on teams some more. I mean, he still wants his big offensive guys, as you said, in the top 6 to go, but he wants them to lean on teams more. Razor, they're also very good in the face-off circle. They're big boys up front. JT is 57.5%. Tavares, that is. Austin Matthews, just under 60%. So that is going to be a huge test. And it could be a big factor in the sense Toronto starts with the puck. Could more. Again, the Bruins without Elias Lindholm week to week, many weeks. He's out with that lower body injury. Looks like we a couple of 10 days ago or so took a hit on the knee running into Jordan Greenway. We also don't know about the rest of the lineup, if only because Johnny Beecher, he didn't play after first period. You never know who else is dinged up, and we don't know. If you follow social media, and this is just, I guess deduction, Mark Diver put out there in social media, who follows all things Providence hockey, not just the P Bruins, but everything. He said last night that Alex Steves wasn't out there with the P Bruins, who won again, Razor. Again, they won 2-1 in Cleveland. He wasn't there, so does Steves get it's a quick trip from Cleveland to Toronto, really quick. He could probably take a boat across the lake. And get hey, I don't know if the PA would allow that, but we'll see. All right, 617-779-7937. Let's take a couple. We got a handful of calls lined up. Well, let's make it quick. Let's get to it. Maria, welcome into Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor.
Thank you. 2 quick questions, but first I want to congratulate Zdeno Chara. Big weekend for him this weekend, very much deserved. Yep. So my questions are, what do the Bruins do with Mason Lohrei? Because I see Charlie McAvoy somewhat flourishing in his role. Jonathan Aspero seems to be very serviceable and fitting into the quote-unquote system. And prior to the injury, what did you guys think of Johnny Beecher's game? Thanks for the time, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yes, big congrats to Big Z. They have a Big Z on the team right now. He doesn't go by that, Zadora, but the original Big Z, the one and only, because he is a unique hockey person, Zdeno Chara. You're there for that weekend last year. I was there as well. You're there again this weekend, but you're coming home after the game tonight. What an honor. Congrats to him and everybody else. All right, let's start with Lohrei. Where do you want Razor? Lohrei, what do you think they do with him? He hasn't played in these 5 games, and we've talked about it during the week on the Brew. You know what? Right now, I was talking the other day about, do you consider putting him back in before last game, this, that? No. Talked to Marco about it a little bit. All good. He's doing the right thing. He's working his butt off ice, on ice, but you can't change the back end right now.
No, you can't touch it. And so for Mason Lohrei, you work and you work and you work, and you show up and you do some more work, and then you get in the gym and you just keep being ready and understanding that this is what you're in right now. This is the predicament. You haven't done it. You haven't had adversity in the National Hockey League, and this is what all the guys are telling him as well. This is, everybody goes through this. We all do this. We all have this in our career at some point. And you know, the key is to keep your head down and focus and just drive through it. So no, you're not moving the lineup. You're almost at the point now with 5 in a row where even if you lose the game, you're not completely flipping the back end. It might have to be an injury, or it might have to be a situation where poor performance over a 2 or 3 game segment gets you back in. But at some point he's going to be back in, and at some point he has to take advantage of that opportunity.
And his mindset is part of this is not, or a lot of this I don't think is physical. I think it's a mental thing as well. It's going to have to be I'm simplifying, I'm engaging more, I'm going to stay in the battle longer, I'm going to do pick sticks. I don't want him not to try to do anything offensively, but because he's so instinctively good at that. But I'm okay with less is more. I'm okay with pushing puck up the ice more instead of joining the rush more. There's going to be time for that. But I want the reads right, especially in the neutral zone, and then I want battle level higher in the D zone. Real quick on Johnny Beecher. Again, we don't have an official update yet, but didn't look good. Went down twice last game. Only played about 4 minutes. His game, I thought it was serviceable in his role. He'd been in 2 games previously to that. But I kind of feel like that fourth line left wing spot wasn't secured by anybody, when he was in there. Would you agree?
I would. You made a good point on the podcast the other day, though, is there's this penalty killing ability.
Yep.
Does give him a leg up. He gets out there, he'll win a draw. He really feels comfortable in the PK system, so he's valuable there. But you're right. He certainly hasn't grabbed the third line or the fourth line left wing and just held on to it. It's been a rotation, and that will continue, it seems like. And
if he's not able to play, you would think for sure Jeffrey Viel is in the lineup. By the way, they're going to call somebody up regardless. And a lot of times they don't announce it till day of, folks, just for cap purposes and all that stuff and getting the player there. But they'll have if a Beecher is okay and he can play, or whatever, then they still want an extra there. But we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. We got a couple of hours before they're on the ice. All right, let's go up to Burlington, Vermont. Love Burlington. Size up there, and I wonder, besides talking Bruins, BC was playing at UVM. Any chance, Si, that you were able to make it to that game?
Hey guys, first time, long time, big fan. Yeah, I went to the BC UVM game last night. Letourneau had the opening goal. Pretty sure Hagens had the assist on the game winner.
Yes.
BC definitely the better team, but UVM is just okay. We're always just okay. But
Burlington's
really wanted
great.
to ask about. Sorry, what's that?
I said, but Burlington's better than okay. We're good with that. Yes.
Burlington's better than okay. It's beautiful up here. It's gray November, but it's beautiful up here. Anyway, wanted to ask a quick question about Zacha, and arguably second, third best forward on the team, still under a really nice contract. But if we're gonna be is he gonna be a big part of this retool? Do you think he deserves a contract extension? Does he get something like Geeky's contract? I know he's a couple years older, but I mean, he's really, really nice, and it's always good to have another check on the team for Pasta. Do you think he gets an extension?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's on a 5-game streak. Thanks for the call, Cy. Again, always great to hear from the people up in northern Vermont. Razor, I mean, I don't think they're worried per se about an extension because he got 2 years. He's got this year and next year. I know he could get an extension, July 1 over the summer. I'm going to say he doesn't get an extension just yet because, I mean, they love him. He's on a 5-game point streak. He has been really consistent this year. I think it's going to be predicated not just on his play. I mean, of course you want him. And by the way, he's the same age as Geeky, isn't he? I mean, it seems because he's been in the league forever. Since 18, 19 years old. I think he's just 28 as well. But I think they wait. Let's see where the team goes. Let's see what Pav keeps on doing. I know he loves it here, but because he's on such a team friendly, I mean, it's 4.75. It's a very friendly deal, especially in the new salary cap era. He's attractive, and he gets you a boatload back. Easily a Carlo, more probably than the Coyle return that the Bruins saw last year.
No question. But the reason you get that is because he's a top 6 centerman. And you go through the list, and you need to get at least a top 6 center back for him if you're trading him. It might be a different kind, but as we've seen over the last 18 months, when the Bruins needed one of those and want one of those, you can't just pluck it off the tree. They all get re-signed. They all get extended. There's none of those in free agency. So you have to have a plan to fill that spot before you just trade him, even if you're out of the playoffs. But I think we're well now, certainly with the record they have and how things are going, you're much closer, I suppose, to an extension than not. But like you just said, there's 65 more games, 68 more games. There's a lot to go to decide that. And I think, again, you're going to hear his name just because he's so valuable, but I wouldn't take a lot of stock in that.
Earlier, you talked about how valuable the second line has been. Perfect segue into the last 3 games numbers for Zacha, Mittelstadt, Arvidsson. Zacha, 2 goals and an assist. Obviously, if you watched the game the other night, game-winning goal against Ottawa in overtime after a beautiful play from Charlie McAvoy. We can get to that in a minute. Points in 5 consecutive. He's got 5 shots. He's playing 18 and a half minutes. He plays both top power play and penalty kills, so a very valuable, almost invaluable piece for this Bruins team. Mittelstadt, a goal and 2 assists in his last 3 games, playing 16 minutes, 2 hits, 2 blocks, a couple of giveaways. But I've liked his game a lot. I had a long talk with him, Razor, the other day about playing left wing. And I asked him if he had done it at the NHL level. He said about 60 games. A few years ago with the Buffalo Sabres, he had been on the left. He had been in center, was really struggling. Donnie Granato, then the head coach in Buff, said, put you on wing. And he's like, no freaking way I'm playing wing. No way. He's never played wing before in his life, in his hockey life. And he gets moved to wing, and it did, he trusted Don Granato a lot. And he goes there, and it reset him. And now, and I'm fast forwarding to the schedule, like he wasn't playing well with the Bruins, wasn't feeling great, basically. And then he had to talk with Marco before he got scratched a couple of weeks ago. And Marco was saying, I'm considering the wing. And I think he said to him basically, as he said to me, he encouraged you. He's like, yeah, put me on the wing. Because the few times now he's gone to wing, it resets him, and he's very comfortable there. So he's been good, a goal and 2 assists last 3. Arvidsson, 2 goals in the last 3 games. Carolina and the Islanders, he scored. He's got 10 shots in that time. He had 6 shots alone against the Islanders, and he's playing just under 18 minutes. And in the previous 13, just to show what he's done better, he was only playing 14.54 per game. So he's up to 3 minutes per game more. That second line, getting back to your comment about how good they've been, I mean, you wonder where the Bruins would be the last 3 to 5 games without them.
No question. And they've all stepped up in their own ways, and individually, they've really pushed the pace for this team. So it's been great. They've got that secondary scoring, and you said it, coming into Toronto, they're going to need to have another big game because, again, that the matchup game, they could probably take advantage in the matchup game, depending on who Berube wants to go out against David and Morgan. They might get a favorable one at times, but they have to take advantage of that.
Was it? I can't remember when it was in the game last game. Middlestat took a big hit. I was concerned, but he still played almost 15 minutes. He was. You could tell it was something lower body, but again, don't know. We'll find out. This whole, again, we have no idea on the lineup, no idea about Beecher, anybody. But the Bruins, it got physical last game. I mean, the hit Clevin on Peak. Again, there was a hit on Middlestat, Beecher. I mean, it got to be a physical game last game, and I think that's part of Ottawa's what they're wanting to do. Would you agree? I mean, they didn't have their way with the Bruins, obviously, like the first game where they throttled them 7-2. But I did feel like we had a little more, nasty might not be the right word, but a little more definite physical presence in that game. Yes,
and Ottawa does. You have the McDermotts of the world and the Clevins and some big bodies outside of the Stutzels and the Giroux. And Toronto's the same. And they're divisional games too. They're just different. The guys recognize how important this stretch is, especially for the Bruins, in these divisional games, and how it's a 4-point swing really quickly. And with the division and the conference being so close, it's these are playoff, like, I hate saying that because it's November, but they are playoff-like games already. I think everyone's understanding that this point could matter every single night.
Let's take one more call because we've already taken a few. Depot in Connecticut. Let's do a quick question here. We'll get it in before the next break here on Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor.
Yeah, I was wondering what you think about the comparison between Fraser Minten and Patrice Bergeron when he was a rookie season.
Okay, thank you. A guy who knows Patrice Bergeron very well. They both shared frosted tips. Did you guys go to the same place to get the frosted tips when you were 18 and 20 years old? Was it a 2-for-1 tip deal?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Probably should have been, though. I think that was, we were saving money on haircuts back then.
You were. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, so Fraser Minten compared to Patrice Bergeron, heady stuff. I get what Depot's asking, meaning first year, but Fraser is a little older than Patrice was at the time. Patrice came in as an 18-year-old, Minten's a little older. But the maturity level, which we have spoken about, I'm not saying that they're the same player, but I'm saying there is a maturity to each of them that is similar. Would you agree, from somebody who lived with Patrice when he was 18? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, so that's the big thing. First off, Patrice was 3 years younger. Mm-hmm. Fraser was a pro last year. He couldn't play junior. He was a pro. So it's not again, 3 years is a massive difference, just a massive difference. But what Fraser has that he has in common with Patrice and many, almost all of the people in the National Hockey League who are having great careers at a young age or started when they were 20 or 21 is maturity. Mm-hmm. He understands that he needs to be reliable as a checker and as a defender, and that will allow him to get points. That will allow him to be on the ice more. He completely understands that. So not just Bergeron comparison, but a lot of players who started at 20 and 21 have had 10, 12-year careers. He has that maturity level, that understanding of how he needs to play to stay in the lineup.
Well, let me give you a little line on him, Razor, just to solidify our point, and Depot, saying how good he's been. Points in 3 of the last 5 games, 1 assist in the last 3 games. Reason I use last 3 is that's the past week, since last we were here on Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. He had an assist on the game-winning goal against the game-tying goal against the Islanders. What a great play. Pasta, Khusnutdinov, and Minten working their butts off to get it back. His face-offs last 3 have been at 50%, 13 for 13. He only has 5 giveaways all year. All right. And I know that, sometimes giveaway is very subjective, partner, but it's pretty impressive in that, yeah, he might not have the puck on his stick as much as he will eventually with confidence, but the fact that he's out there a lot, only 5 giveaways, pretty damn good, especially for a centerman who does, will in theory touch the puck more deep in the D zone. So far, very good for Fraser Minten. Another one of those young players. Like I said earlier about Khusnutdinov, you can tell, absolutely tell, that the players are not just rooting for, but doing everything they can to support him, to elevate him. They see how important he is, and I think they see his personality as important to the team as well. All right, we got one more segment coming up. The number, if you want to jump in, I don't know, we'll see if we got time, 617-779-7937. We got a couple of other things to get to. We got to get to goaltending, and we'll set you up again for tonight's game in Toronto. 6 o'clock pre on Nesson, 7 o'clock face-off. Bruins in Toronto coming up. We'll be right back with more. This is Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor.
Now, more of Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor on WEEI.
All right, let's get right into it. Last segment here, Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Fun show. Razor on the road. Razor's on the road this weekend and next weekend. You had the most important hockey event last weekend. You are a roadie right now. You had Evie's games last weekend in Rochester. Back into this up there in that area across the border in TO for this one for the NHL. And then next weekend, we get you in Montreal, don't we? Razor in Montreal?
Yeah, we do.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
get the passport ready.
Yes, the passport's getting marked, and the weekends are busy.
That's good. That's fun. Except you got to miss the kids' games, which I know. It's tough.
I get Sundays.
You get Sundays. Oh, yes, right. You get
one today. Yeah. I'm back late tonight, so I'm good tomorrow.
You want me to? Where are they playing? You want me to go there? I can yell at them.
Please go yell at Decky. He's at the Jar this afternoon.
Oh, really? All right, that's close. Maybe we go. I fill in for Razor. Exactly. Get kicked out of the rink. All right, real quick for the rest of the third line. We brought up Minten, and I want to get to goaltending quickly here. Tanner Jeannot didn't play great against the Islanders. Talked about it. But he picked it up next game, had a beautiful assist in the Ottawa game to Sean Corrali, who scored his first goal of the year with a goalie in the net, meaning he had an empty net goal earlier. But I like Jeannot's game. He has 14 hits in the last 3 games. Mark Kastelik has continued to really shine. He's elevated the last few to the right side along with Minten, riding the right side, Fraser Minten, and left side wing Tanner Jeannot. Those are 2 big boys flanking Minten. Kastelik at 59% on the faceoffs. He's been instrumental, again, without Elias Lindholm. He's their big right shot guy. He's playing 15 and a half minutes in the last 3 games. In the previous 13, just 12 minutes and 14 seconds. So he's seeing an elevated role, just like a couple of other guys. So great for those guys, and they're going to need those big boys tonight. They're gonna. I'm saying the same thing. It's going to be a grind. And speaking of a grind, David, you got that one for us after last game? This is what Marco Sturm had to say about the Bruins' performance.
Some players some teams don't do anything. Some teams just do the best player. This is actually the first team I've seen got the grinder award. Well, that's actually pretty good, and the best part is it's come from the players, not from me. They, even a guy like Pasta, he said, I want it. I said, yeah, okay, you got to work for it then. But it's good. No, it just helps, and guys take a lot of pride in that.
So what we've been saying literally since our season preview show, Razor, on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, that grind, this is going to be a grind fest this year. It is. And they've embraced it at least the last 5, 6, 7 games.
They have, and they understand it, and they're the whole season's going to be that, even for the most talented and skilled teams. So I think that if you have that mindset early on, then you're better prepared for what January is going to hold and what March is going to hold. So they're in a good spot.
I will throw out an obvious question, and I'm willing to do it as a pretend host because we know I'm not a real one, but I'll ask it because I want to get the answer. But the goaltending's been better lately. Okay, how much has the fact that the defensive zone, neutral zone, defensive zone structure been, since it's been better the last 5 for sure? How much has that helped the goaltending as well? Not taking anything away from them, but it has to have an impact. Again, I'll ask the obvious, but I'll let you go with it from a goalie perspective.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that you're so reliant on what's going on in front of you as a goaltender, and what they've been doing is the goalies, both of them, they've played 10 one-goal games. So that means your goalie's keeping you in it every single night. And even when things weren't good in front of them, they were keeping the team in it. They weren't getting wins. Now you see a little bit of a shift. Things are a little bit better in front of them, and now they're getting the wins. So I think the goaltenders have essentially played the same way the entire season at this point. Again, giving their team a chance, being competitive every night, and what's happened in front of them have allowed to get the wins and losses.
I'm going to go, or have somebody do it for me, because numbers and I just don't get them always, but talk to me or show me how different the high danger chances were for the first 13 games or the first 10 games compared to where we're at now. And I wonder how much different it is. Mm-hmm. And if the predictability or the reliability of where shots are coming from or not coming from, perhaps, has been better. Now, the Bruins goaltenders, we saw Korpisalo play 2 games in a row. Swayman played 2 games in a row, a win and a loss. Colorado beat, and then the team got throttled by Ottawa. Then Jonas comes in, and he plays 2 games in a row, wins both of those games, gives up a total of 5 goals. But then we see Jeremy Swayman come back and play 2 games, and people are talking about goalie controversy. It's not a controversy yet. Can we please stop with that yet? I mean, we're not talking about that. Then Swayman comes in, and then Jonas plays correctly. We both felt against Ottawa, because now this sets up, in theory, for a very good 2 in a row with the Bruins taking on Toronto on the road tonight, and then at home on Tuesday for Swayman to play both those games.
Yeah, and then they play in Ottawa. So then Korpisalo goes back to Ottawa, where Jeremy gave up 7. So yeah, that seems like the obvious schedule. Of course, you don't get ahead of yourself in the National Hockey League, but you would expect that to play out here in the next 5 or 6 days. Jeremy has played very well against Toronto in his career, of course, in the playoffs and in this building on the road. So that makes sense to have him play 2 games against them.
All right, quick Toronto. We talked about them in our first segment, but 8-5-1. If you missed it, the first segment, they're 8-5-1. They've played 10 of 14 games at home. Rage, you mentioned earlier, no Mitch Marner. He ended up going in a sign and trade to the Vegas Golden Knights on a mega deal before the season against the Bruins in 28 games. He also had points when he played for Vegas earlier this year, but 28 games as a Leaf against the Bruins. 13 goals, 33 assists, 46 points, the most of any team he has faced in the National Hockey League. So in theory, it's an advantage not having him there. But as we've talked about, this team in Toronto, I think Craig Berube's happier now. They're getting more to that close type hockey games that they're willing to play, and they're not needing to open it up regularly. They've still got Willie Nylander. They still got Matt Nyes. They still got Austin Matthews, who really hasn't been unbelievable, but they got Stolarz in net. Pretty good team. Bruins facing them tonight. 6 pre, 7 face-off on NESN. Your quick thoughts on going into TO again one more time.
No, it's all about the 5-on-5 play, and their power play hasn't been good. They're second last in the league, but their PK is exactly with the Bruins, exactly the same PK. So we've talked a lot about the Bruins PK. The Leafs is exactly the same. They're both 10th in the league. Face-offs, but the goals for it was where Toronto's been able to pull ahead is because of that 5-on-5 play. They're not great. They haven't been as good as defensively as Berube wants them to be, or is what they have to be without a Mitch Marner, which is why they're only a few games over 500. But nonetheless, Saturday night Hockey Hall of Fame game. It's always a big one for everybody involved tonight.
It is a big one. I'm looking forward to seeing what Razor wardrobe brings out for this one. It's a Saturday night in TO. Are we going Johnny Cash, black on black? Are we going there?
No, I didn't do that. I brought a white. I'm pretty neutral road uniform and everything else.
Oh, come on, Razor.
And no blue, of course.
We got that one figured out. All right, great show, bud. Go enjoy another hour of your morning. All right, we appreciate you getting up. The hair looks good. I mean, geez. For early morning, if we're on Twitch, I see you, Razor. You're looking good.
Bad.
Well, that helps then for all of us. All right, have a great day, Razor. Everybody else, have a great day too. Again, Bruins, Leafs, 6 pre, 7 o'clock face-off on NESN. Bruins looking to make it 6 in a row and 7 of 8. It's going to be a tough one tonight. This is a fun show. We will talk to you again next Saturday. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor then. Everybody be good.